We'll find it.
Okay. Do you guys hear like a fan noise from my end or no?
No, from your end, no.
Okay, alright, cool.
But I do have a fan on, I thought you could hear it.
Oh no, m my AC unit is popped off, so yeah. Anyway, let's let, let's start over here. Let me see how the latency is. Okay, so the latency is like this. Alright.
Well, let's just get started on the introductions then, and I'll get into the first memory for today.
Yep. I'm just gonna announce that we are live with AC3, and start the introductions.
Yeah, put it also on Twitter.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, let's get the introduction started, and then we'll move into this. I'm all set on the memory.
Uh, don't be in the memory just yet. I am just looking for a little bit. And then there's that. There we go. Alright. Okay, so look, let me make the introductions. Okay, let's start. Alright, so hi guys, welcome to the AC-15's week of Assassin's Creed 3. We are covering AC3's American Revolution, everything that spans from the uh, Boston Massacre. I think we are starting with the Green Dragon Tavern, where the founding fathers used to meet up to plot the revolution, which is pretty cool. So yeah, we're gonna cover
Master
a lot
Kenway.
of historical
Master Kenway. Yes, may I help you? Charles
facts
Lee,
about
sir. A pleasure to make your
the
acquaintance.
American
I've been asked to
Revolution.
introduce you to the
Joining
city,
me
help you settle in. No need,
is
sir. I've arranged for your bags to be
Ada
delivered to
from
the...
Science
Are you by any
at
chance John and
Science
Isabella's
underscore
son?
Creed, the Science of Assassin's Creed,
One and the same.
and
Your commission
hi,
is
how
with
are you?
Edward Braddock, is it not?
Aye. But he's yet to reach America, and I figured I might...
That's good.
Well, at least until he arrives. I thought...
Yes?
At
Out with
Historian's
it.
Perspective
Forgive me, sir.
is
I
also hosting
had hoped that I might study
the
under you. If I am to
stream.
serve the
He
order, I can
will be the
imagine no
one
better
playing it,
mentor than
and he has
yourself.
also done some research. He's
Kind
on
of you to
Twitter
say, but I
and
think you overestimate me.
Instagram.
Impossible, sir. This way.
It's at Historian's Purse, right?
Yes, my Twitter is at Historian's Purse. You should be able to find me there. You'll find me as Historian's Perspective on Instagram, where you can
Boston's
find
quite a
historical
lively
overlays
city.
across the channel
There's all
from
manner of
AC
things to see
Landmarks,
and
as
do.
well as stuff I post
Once you settle in, I
myself,
suggest you take some
as
time to
well as
walk
my
the streets.
research.
Who knows
My
what
background
opportunities
is
you'll
in history and literature,
moment.
focusing particularly on the classics, as
I'll
I've
arrange
said
for
in
horses
prior
while you do
streams. And I've been a long-time fan of Assassin's Creed, and we're going to get started in today's stream by playing a variety of different missions, highlighting key moments, people, and places during the AC3 time period. As with this mission in particular, we're going to be traveling to the Green Dragon Inn, where we will be talking about how its impact affected the American Revolution and its undertaking.
Yeah, And as you can
This
see,
accursed
this is the
city will be the
mission.
death of me.
It's the
You seem
Welcome to
troubled,
Boston
friend.
mission. Did
That's
we
because I
just
am.
encounter Benjamin
Greatly so,
Franklin
in fact.
or not?
What's
Yes,
happened?
Okay,
Benjamin
I
Franklin.
was robbed. The
there
old
we
Vulcan
go.
file. Though I've
Uh,
managed to restore what's
the
mine, I
$100
fear
bill
it's
guy.
ruined.
You mean the book?
This is no
Benjamin
ordinary
Franklin
book.
is
It's an
also
almanac. The
featured
first
in
I ever wrote.
Assassin's Creed Rogue.
Benjamin Franklin. Pleased to meet
All
you.
right, let's see here.
Haytham Kenway.
You must be
Should we
new to
start
Boston.
Why do you
the
say
Green
that?
Dragon Tavern?
You're still possessed
Yeah,
of
let's start with the
virtue.
Green Dragon Tavern. That'll give me
Stop
time
and
to
help
get there.
an old lout like myself.
Cool, cool.
I don't mean
Alright,
to impose,
so,
but you seem a
the Green
spry fellow.
Dragon Tavern.
Should you happen to find my missing pages,
This was researched
I'll
by
reward you.
Look,
by
I'm not sure
Dark
if I've...
It's all right, all
from
right. If you have the time,
Hikaru's,
hurrah. If not,
uh,
no harm done. The thing is useless in its current state anyway.
from Master
But
Hikata
should you somehow
Ceremonials,
manage to restore it,
who has been
you'll
helping
find
with the
me
research
inside
and
that general
experience
store
of
over there.
these discovery tours. So let's start.
Well,
The Green Dragon
that was
Tavern was a
interesting.
public house used as a tavern and meeting place located on what is today Union Street in Boston's North End. It is unclear exactly when the Green Dragon Tavern was established, since some historians state it was established in 1654 under the name the Baker's Arms, while others state it was 1712. According to the Masons' records, John Carey kept the Green Dragon Tavern in 1697. And it's also the oldest bar in the Revolutionary period, owned and operated by Richard Pullen.
We ride for the Green Dragon Tavern.
St. Andrew's
The
Lodge had been
proprietors are eccentric,
formed
but the
in
rooms
the
are
Green
spacious and they do not
Dragon's
cry.
Have you been told why
long
it is
room
I've
by
been to Boston?
No, Master Birch
1756.
said I should know only as much
The
as you
long
saw
room
fit to
was
share.
on the
He
north
sent me a
side
list
of
of
the
names
tavern,
and bade me
which
ensure you could
the
find them.
lodge
And have you had
purchased
any luck
on
with
March
that?
Aye.
31st,
William
17
Johnson
oh,
waits for us
64,
at the Green
to be
Dragon.
used as a
How
meeting
well do you
place.
know him?
Not well, but he saw the
I-
order's
I
mark
think
and
that
did not
that's
hesitate to
where
come.
Prove yourself loyal to our
the
cause.
Templars met.
And you may yet know our
per-
plans as well.
I should like
Purchased
nothing
under
more,
the
sir.
organization of Dr. Joseph Warren, Paul Revere and others who were opposed to the more established oriented St. John's Lodge. So yeah, it was purchased under the organization of Dr. Joseph Warren. Uh, Naturally, the Freemasons kept the Green Dragon Tavern running as a tavern and bar. The Freemasons used the first floor for their meeting rooms. Uh, the Green Dragon was briefly renamed the Freemasons' Arms, serving as meeting headquarters until the lodge moved to the Exchange Coffee House in 1818. The hall continued to function as a tavern under the management of Benjamin Burdick, captain of the watch for Central Boston in the 1770s. The basement tavern was used by several secret groups and became known by historians as the headquarters of the Revolution. The Sons of Liberty, Boston Committee of Correspondence, and the Boston Caucus each met there. Dr. Joseph Warren was Grand Master of the Lodge. I mean, Grand Master, you say. That's Haytham Kenway. Yeah, that's fictional. And Paul Revere was also a member. Private committees, planning committees for rallies and political clubs also met in the long room of the Green Dragon Tavern, including the North End Caucus, which was established in 1768 by Boston mechanics. The Boston Committee of Correspondence, the Sons of Liberty, the Caucus Pro Bono Publico, and the Boston uh, caucus all met in the long room too. The Boston Tea Party was said to have been planned there, and Paul Revere was sent from the tavern to Lexington on his famous ride. Um, the planning of the Boston Tea Party actually took place at the tavern in uh, as well as many other secret meetings. In 1774, Paul Revere overheard that the British authorities were aware of these clandestine planning sessions, and it was from the Green Dragon that Revere rode to Lexington and Concord on April 18, 1775, to warn the revolutionary militia, including John Hancock and Samuel Adams, of oncoming British troops sent to arrest them. In January 1788, a meeting of the mechanics and artisans of Boston passed a series of resolutions urging the importance of adopting the federal constitution, pending at the time before a convention of delegates from around Massachusetts. The resolutions on the adoption of the federal constitution also took place at the Green Dragon Tavern in January of 1788. Although the building was torn down for the widening of the street in 1828, Secretary of State Daniel Webster noted the tavern in an 1843 speech, referring to the Green Dragon Tavern as the headquarters of the revolution. Though the current Green Dragon Tavern of Boston uh, is at like 11 Marshall Street, close to the original location in Union Street, uh, which has a historical marker. It is neither the same building nor location of the original tavern. It is just there as like as like a memory to it, but yeah, it has no connections to it. Uh, so yeah, uh, it, the Dragon Tavern is definitely a place where a lot has happened into it, but unfortunately, due to history, we have lost its. I mean, we know where its whereabouts are, but the bar doesn't exist, sadly. And that about concludes.
Fun fact for those in the pop culture realm, the Green Dragon is also the name given to the tavern in Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit, written by John Roll Ronald Tolkien, back in the middle of the 20th century.
Huh. Interesting. I mean, yeah, the Green Dragon Tavern, like when I first played AC3, I'm like, there was no place called the Green Dragon Tavern. Um, but lo and behold, historical research. It is a fantastical bar kind of thing, you know?
I know this, but it's false advertising. This place is neither green nor has a dragon.
Mm.
So we need to have a dragon at the entrance.
Yeah, there's a dragon at the entrance. Go outside for a second.
And also, I thought the tavern in Lord of the Rings was called the Prancing Pony.
No, and the one in Hobbiton is known as the Green Dragon.
Oh, right. Okay.
Has
The
a
Prancing
little
Pony is
dragon.
in Bree.
It has a little dragon there. Okay. Is the voice doing fine?
Let me just get this aspect started.
I think the voice it is doing fine, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So now I'll start up the next memory, being the Braddock expedition.
Okay. All right. Cool. Let me
So
put
start
that.
reading about the Braddock expedition.
Yep, doing it right now. Alright, so we're going into the Braddock expedition memory. Let me see. So after George Washington's defeat at Fort Necessity, which was a battle fought during the French and Indian War, colonial governors appealed to the crown to send bigger muscle to the colonies.
First it was too cold.
That big
Now
muscle
it's too
came
goddamn
in the
hot.
form of Major General Edward Braddock,
And humid
a
too.
guy you
So
see
eat smart, I
prominently
tell you.
featured in AC3 to be Haytham Kenway's buddy from the past. So
Warm
the
weather
British
and
decided to
bugs are
send
soon to be
Braddock
the
with
least of
two
our worries.
regiments of infantry to take things more seriously
What?
during the war.
You mean the
Braddock was a
bulldog?
career soldier and had
Please.
risen
We'll
through
be
the
in that one's
ranks.
beef soon enough and
After
on to the
serving for
next.
45 years in the military, he became
Where's your boy
commander-in-chief
Lee
of
gone
all
off to?
British forces in North America, so he
Returned to
was the
finish out his
top
service under
dog.
Braddock.
They called him the bulldog for
I
a
imagine the
reason.
Bulldog's none too pleased after the stunt we pulled.
In
These
1755,
to
the
spin a
British
tale of my
plan
competence
was
and beg
to attack
forgiveness.
many French
He has a way
forts
with words,
in
especially when it
North
comes to
America,
flattery.
simultaneously
I expect he'll be welcomed back with open arms.
attack them. And Braddock was the man to
Give
do
us
it.
a man inside.
Braddock himself would lead the expedition against Fort,
Precisely.
and this is a French name again, Fort Duquesne. Is that the way it's
Duquesne.
If I have,
Yeah,
Charles
Fort
was censored
Fort
first to make
Duquesne.
his escape.
It seems to be a running theme of my French
I see you've been
pronunciation.
busy.
All these men are from
Okay,
many different
in
tribes,
spring
united in their desire to see Braddock sent away.
1755, with aid from
The
his
Abenaki,
colonial
the
troops and a
Lenape,
few
Shawnee.
Indians, he had gathered up in
And you?
his force that equaled up to
Who do you stand for?
2,400 men. Braddock started his
What would you have me do?
expedition.
Will you help the others
in
to
this
prepare?
journey,
Follow.
Washington was also, this is George Washington, he would also join him as a volunteer aide. This is
They come.
accurate. This is accurately depicted in
Everything all
AC3
right,
as
sir?
you see him
Just
over here
savoring the moment.
being a volunteer aide
No
with
doubt.
Edward
Many wonder
Braddock.
why it is we've pushed so far west.
Um,
These are wild lands, as yet
So
untamed
the
and
army
unsettled.
would meet
But it shall
at
not always
Willis
be so.
Creek. Braddock would take
In
the same
time,
trail
our holdings
Washington
will no
had
longer suffice.
the previous year
And
to
that day
retreat
is
to
closer
the
than you
creek
think.
from Fort
We
Necessity.
must ensure our people
The
have
trail
ample room
itself
to
was
grow
widened
and further
12 feet
prosper.
because the
Which
army's
means
large
we
wagons
need
and
more
artillery
land.
were too small for it. As they were
The
headed to
French
Fort
understand
Duquesne,
this
and
and
shortly after
endeavor
they
to prevent
crossed
such
the
growth. They skirt around our
Monongahela
territory, erecting
River,
forts and forging
they were
alliances.
ambushed by the French
Awaiting
and their
the day they
American
might
Indian
strangle us
allies.
with the noose
The
they
whole
built.
ambush was fearful
This must not
for the
come to
British,
pass.
as they lacked
We must sever the
discipline in the
cord
smoke
and
of
send them
battle
back.
and were
This
scrambled
is why we
in their
ride,
formation.
to offer them one
The
last
battle
chance.
only
The
lasted
French will leave,
3 hours.
or they will die.
Braddock himself was severely
Now's the
wounded,
time
and
to
the British
strike.
soldiers were trying to
Scatter the
retreat.
expedition is not enough.
All in
Must
all,
ensure that Braddock
the
falls.
ambush
Must be
cost the
sure to
British
try
a
again.
great number of casualties.
Disguise
More
myself
than
as one of his
900
own and make
of
my way to his side.
1,400 men
Your ambush
were
provided the
in
perfect
this
cover for
battle,
me to deliver the
and
killing
they
blow.
horrendously were taken down. The ones who survived lived to tell the tale. Washington himself would report that
There, in front of us.
the shocking scenes which presented themselves, and this is, quote, the shocking scenes which presented themselves in this night's march are not to be described. The dead, dying, the groans, lamentations, and cries of the wounded for help were enough to pierce a heart of adamant. Washington also reflecting back on Braddock's death wrote that, "Thus died a man whose good and bad qualities were intimately blended. He was brave even to a fault, and in regular service would have done honor to his profession. His attachments were warm, his enmities were strong, and having no disguise about him, both appeared in full force. Of course, Washington himself would go on not only to save the British and provincial troops from total destruction during the French and Indian War, but would be the father of the nation of the United States in the American Revolution, uh, right after they won the American Revolution, of course. Uh, so yeah, that about covers it. Uh, I think.
Edward.
Are we ready for?
We still have. We could do a trivia question, and then we could talk about a person you'd like to cover, because we still have quite a bit of a mission left.
Oh. Let me see who.
Sir.
I mean, let's cover George Washington.
Where are you off to?
Just because the mission includes Washington too. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, why don't you do that?
Alright. So, George Washington. You must know George Washington by now, but let's tell you more about him. George Washington was the commander-in-chief of the Continental Army in the American Revolutionary War from 1775 to 1783, and served as the first president of the U.S. from 30 April. Just a second. Sorry.
I never took you for a coward.
Come on then!
Okay, so
Such arrogance.
he served as the first president of the United States from 30 April 1789 to March 4th, 1797. Born in the colony of Virginia in the British colonies of America, Washington joined the Virginian militia during his youth and participated in the French and Indian War with the British Army, fighting against the French and their indigenous allies. Due to the lack of progress of his military career in the British Army, Washington instead turned to politics. When the American Revolutionary War broke out, Washington supported the Patriots. Following the creation of the Continental Army, the Continental Congress of 1775 appointed Washington as its commander-in-chief. This is an event that you can see in Assassin's Creed 3 happening right in front of your eyes. His father, Augustine Washington, died in 1743, and although George enjoyed school, he had to leave before he turned 16 to support his family.
Nothing personal.
In his father's stead. Since at least
personal. Been a pain in my ass after all.
1748, he kept a notebook with descriptions of events in his
Once, perhaps.
life.
No longer.
Guys, do you want to do?
Think I've forgotten what you did.
Do you want to do a trivia question so that when we're done with the trivia question, we can just start with like the next topic and cover Washington later? Washington has like quite research on him.
Than it is today.
In this instance.
Yeah. Let's do it now. Did you guys promote the stream on your platforms?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Because I see nothing with the comment. Actually, people are here. Nice. All right. Well, let's start with the trivia question.
Okay. I'm going to choose the.
No, I've upheld my part of the bargain.
Yeah, let's do it.
Honor yours.
From there onwards, we can continue with
Follow me.
the other guesses. To the next.
Yeah. Let me know of the questions so I can add a poll over here. I'm trying this thing out.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So this one is about the modern day.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just going to put the question now in the chat.
No.
As mentioned by
No.
Bruno in the Grand Temple, what was the fourth solution by the issue against the solar flare?
You seem disappointed.
Fourth solution.
I thought that I held a key that would
By
open
the
something here.
issue
This room is all there is.
against the solar flare. What are
I expected
the
more.
multiple choices?
A. Create new vessels and transfer their consciousness.
What do they mean?
It tells the story of Yotzitzizu, who came into their world and shaped it for what
Okay.
life might come.
It's letting me have 25
She had a hard
characters.
journey,
So
fraught with
I'm just
great
gonna say
loss and
create new
peril.
vessels.
Okay.
But she
Okay.
believed in her children and what they
Travel
might
back in
achieve.
time and prevent the disaster.
And though she is long gone from the physical world, her eyes still watch
Travel
over
back
us.
in time.
Her ears still hear our words. Her hands still guide us.
C.
And
Use Rings of
love
Eden
still
in a
gives us
very large
strength.
scale.
You've shown me great kindness, dear. Thank you.
There are rings of Eden?
Oh yeah, you can find the one from James Kidd in here
I should go.
in Assassin's Creed 3, and it sort of deflects bullets, some of them.
Oh, nice. That's cool. And D?
And D, build 4 towers that would collect and virtually dispel the solar flare. So just build 4 towers.
Build 4 powers?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's try this out.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. It's like a poll question system that you can create on your on your channel stream. Let me see here. Let me choose my.
Yeah, go ahead.
Wait, I don't think I can choose. Can you guys choose?
Which one do you want me to choose for you?
What was the fourth solution by the issue against the solar flare? Fourth of them.
The fourth is build 4 towers. Oh, you wrote build 4 powers.
Oh, did I vote? Let me see users. I think it's travel back in time.
Yeah, that's actually correct.
Yeah, because like create new vessels was not a thing until Odyssey, right?
Because no, actually the new vessels appears in Valhalla.
Oh yeah. You're right.
Although they didn't really create new vessels, they did transfer their consciousness, and then it would appear eventually in the DNA computer.
Got it. Well, that's cool. Good to know.
Next up,
We can go to the next.
next up is a trip to Boston to talk about the Boston Massacre.
Let's do it.
The Boston Massacre, also known as the incident on King Street to the British, was a shooting of a crowd of civilian protesters in Boston by British soldiers on March 5, 1770. The incident was quickly seized upon by the Patriots' propaganda, which characterized it as a delicate massacre, or deliberate massacre, and it became one of the seminal events of the American Revolution. Since the end of the French and Indian War in 1763, British colonists across continental North America had been seething over the passing of several acts of taxation
This place is incredible. The people,
by the British
sounds
Parliament.
and
While these
smells.
acts were designed
I could walk these streets
to
for days and know not even half its wonders.
raise desperately needed revenue for the United Kingdom, the colonists found these repressive and also took issue with their lack of representation in Parliament. The much-hated Stamp
there's so
Act
much like
had been
you.
repealed after
So
furious
many
opposition by the colonists, and this success inspired the Bostonians to continue further resisting legislation of Parliament. The catalyst for the incident that became known as the Boston Massacre was not an act of Parliament, but an argument over a wig-maker's bill. With tensions at a high, this set off a mob that took to the streets and began rioting. Hundreds of colonists converged on the old State House, where they trapped 8 British soldiers in front of its entrance. During this time,
Yes. Good.
the crowd threw snowballs and stones, insulted the men, and shouted their grievances against the British government. In nearby streets, colonists and soldiers brawled, wrestling one another against walls of snow. The man in charge of the soldiers, named Captain Thomas Preston, attempted to defuse the situation by speaking with the crowd to little avail. He was asked if his soldiers' muskets were loaded, to which he admitted that they were, and the protesters taunted them to open fire. Following the shooting, 2 more of the victims died from their wounds, and the incident became the subject of a propaganda war between the Patriots and the British. One result was the famous engraving of the event by Paul Revere, which depicted an orderly line of British soldiers firing in unison on the unarmed civilians. To the British, the event was the incident on King Street. I'm multitasking here. Signified that the Americans' characterization largely won out because of these major pieces.
No. Nice.
And there's a little bit more. The event became a system of British oppression as well as a seminal event in the British colonies. The Boston Massacre, as will be portrayed here in a moment, comprises the entirety of this memory, where the main protagonist, being Connor, visits Boston for the first time and is caught up in the incident. Unlike in real history, the shooting is instigated by the eventual general of the Continental Army, Charles Lee, as you'll see him fire from a rooftop that will cause the soldiers to panic.
Some of these things I have.
The Assassin's Creed 3 scriptwriter, Corey May, states that due to the ambiguity surrounding the catalyst for the massacre, the Templars were written into this story as a way to manipulate historical events to their agenda.
I actually didn't know it was started by Charles Lee. Is that like a thing? Like,
that is only in the game.
That is only in the game?
Yes, that is only in the game to show the catalyst of what's going on right now on screen.
Oh, okay. I thought it was like a...
That's what we're going to find out.
Because I know...
Follow me.
Didn't, like, Crispus Attucks, like
Crispus Attucks was a black man who is famous for being killed in this massacre, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, so, I think he was, like, the first casualty of the massacre.
Some say he was the first casualty of the American Revolution.
But, I think the first martyr for the revolution was like a little kid. When
congregating in this manner is forbidden.
When the revolutionaries started, like, you know, mopping up on, like, stores and stuff. One general lived very close to the store, so he shot the bullet literally from his house, but it entered a young kid's body, and that kid died. I forgot the kid's name, but
yes,
but yeah, that's also referred as like one of the first.
I need you to tail his accomplice.
Casualties of the American
This
Revolution.
crowd is a powder keg. We can't allow him to light the fuse. But nothing.
So let me see. We are right in the middle of the Boston Massacre. So
do you want to finish up the George Washington stuff? Because you said there was quite a bit more.
We'll just finish the George Washington stuff when we get to his memory. Why don't we just do another trivia question until the memory is done, because it will take quite some time. Is that cool with you guys, or
That's fine.
should we just quit the memory and start with the
Boy,
next
you there!
historical
What's all the fuss about?
Fire at the
thing?
townhouse.
It's up to you.
It's up to me. Let's do the trivia question, and then we'll go over like 2 historical researches.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what's it
You
about?
actually have to choose it.
Oh yeah. Let's try one from my favorite game, AC4 Black Flag.
For everyone who's watching now, make sure to go back and watch our prior stream of AC Black Flag on the Hecate Ceremonious channel, I believe.
It's not on Hecate Ceremonial channel. It's on. Yeah, it's on AC Let's Talk.
Ah, AC Let's Talk. So go find it. AC Let's Talk.
Yeah.
It's quite a long one. It's about 3.5 hours, so it's plenty of information for you.
It is cut in chapters though, so whatever you want to see or learn about is over there for you in a short amount of time.
Okay.
So yeah.
Shall I?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So one of Edward's Pirate associates accepted the pardon announced by Ruth Roberts. What was his name?
Do you need 4 options?
Yes.
Benjamin Hornigold, Edward Teach, James Kidd, and what's the 4th one? Mary Read?
So,
No, I just need one name of the traitor.
okay, let me ask the question first. So it's
Which pirate accepted the pardon? And the options could be Benjamin Hornigold, Edward Teach, Mary Read, and James Kidd.
No, it's Benjamin Hornigold, Edward Thatch, Charles Vane, and Jack Rackham.
That works too.
yeah. Let me see. So basically, who betrayed the Pirate Republic?
Yeah, basically.
And AC4.
Obviously, it was the British.
Yeah. So the options again, Ada?
It's Charles Vane,
Okay.
Jack Rackham,
Okay.
Benjamin Hornigold,
Is he not?
And
Edward Thatch.
Edward Dash. Alright, ask your community. So let's see. I know the answer.
I absolutely know the answer.
Yeah.
It's pretty easy, yeah.
Go ahead. I'll give it to you. Hello? Bird Crusader, are you still with us? It's it's okay. Let me see. Let, let me get in touch with him. Hey, what happened? I think he has to actually. He's the host of this party chat, so we'll see what happens. How's it going, Ada? Yeah. How do I pronounce it, by the way? Is it Ada or Ada? Ada. Okay. Adha. Got it. Got it. Got it. Got it. Yeah. Uh. y- Let me see. I'm gonna end the poll. I mean, yeah, it's Benjamin Hornigold. Uh. Yeah. Let me get in touch with Joseph and see what's up. Uh. Technical difficulties here, people.
Alright, sorry about that. You guys hear me?
Yes.
Alright, so are we ready for William Johnson?
Yes, but I think ours has to come.
Yeah. I'm back. I'm back.
Okay.
Yeah. Where were you, my dude?
Someone ran up to my door, so I turned my mic off.
Oh, okay. Announce it first, dude.
Sorry, it was sudden. Alright, so let's start with William Johnson. So, give the introduction, I'll start the memory.
Alright, sequence 6, memory 4. Hostile negotiations. Okay, so William Johnson came from Ireland to America in the 1740s to manage his uncle's Mohawk Valley estate. Along with overseeing his uncle's business affairs, he soon had his own trading business with the Indians. He was one of the few Englishmen to understand the benefits of assimilating Indian culture into his political and business dealings with them. This helped give Johnson more credibility with the Indians. In 1755, Johnson was appointed as Superintendent of Indian Affairs and was given a dual military commission as Colonel of the Six Nations and Major General of Provincial Forces. Um, Johnson was the let me see. Johnson was the only colonist ever to be knighted. Most Six Nations support of the most Six Nations support for the British during the war would come from the Mohawks due to Johnson's personal influence with them. It wasn't until the near end of the war, when it was obvious that France would lose, that Johnson's efforts bore full fruit and brought the Six Nations onto England's side as official allies. A combination of his old war wound and various sicknesses began to take toll on Johnson's health as he aged, but he was not one to rest. In the midst of conference, in the midst of an Indian conference at his home in July of 1774, Sir William Johnson, unfortunately, died. His death would leave a gap in royal authority over both the Indians and the colonists at a time when England needed it most. The AC relevance into it would come here. After converting to Protestantism sometime in 1738, Johnson left his birth country of Ireland to live in British colonial America with his uncle Admiral uh, Peter Warren. He left, however, to live on his own after he was unable to convince his uncle to build on the trading routes with Kanyen. Oh God, I'm gonna.
Kani and Toko?
Yeah. Kanyen Koko.
Kani and Toko.
Doko. Okay. Again, butchering names. Uh, uh, so yeah, this would boost business ventures and profits for him because, like, he liked to trade with the Indians. Are we nearing Johnson's cutscene over here?
Yes.
Hopefully,
Take the land by
hopefully
force.
we,
Peace.
we
Peace.
we can see it right now.
Have I
Yeah,
not
so like
always been an
this is where he
advocate?
literally
Have
died
I
when,
not
when
always
he
sought to
was
protect you from harm?
when he was
You
with
wish
the
to
Indians.
protect us
But
and give us arms,
let's
muskets
continue
and
on a
horses
little
that
bit
we
more.
might defend ourselves. War is
In
not
July
we
1754,
remember, Stanwick.
Johnson was
We
one of
remember
the
you
many
moved
in
the borders.
attendance
Even
at the
today your
Albany
men dig up the
Congress,
land,
where
showing
he
no
was
regard
observed
for
by the
those who live
assassin
upon it.
Sheikh Cormac.
Your
This
words
is an
are
Assassin's
honeyed
Creed
but
road.
false.
As,
We are not here to
Benjamin Franklin
negotiate,
spoke
not to
outside the
sell.
City
We
Hall,
are here to
Johnson
tell you and
approached
yours to
Franklin
leave
and
these
discussed the
lands.
likelihood of British
So
Parliament
be it.
granting autonomy to
I
the
offered you an
colonies.
olive branch.
Sometime
And you knocked it
before
from my hand.
1748,
Perhaps it
Johnson was
better to
brought
assault.
into the Templar Order by Lawrence
Are you
Washington.
threatening us?
In 1752,
Yes.
Thomas Hickey was assigned by as Johnson's assistant and followed him into the order. So yeah, what we can learn from William Johnson is that he was a man of business and he he didn't mind who he did business with as long as it was profitable, right, Joseph?
Yes.
Yeah. Thing like he was he was like a master trader. All right, let's kill him now though, just for fun. Did we kill him? Yeah, there we go. Oh, bro, that's an excellent killing.
I planned that.
Oh no.
Nice.
What have you done?
Ensured an end to your schemes. You sought to claim these lands for the Templars.
Aye. That
All
we
right.
might protect them. Do you
We're
think that
moving
good
into
King
Israel
George
Putnam,
lies awake at night, hoping that no harm
in
comes
a
to his
little
native
bit.
subjects? Or that the people of the
Is
city
there anyone
care
in
one
the
whit
chat?
about them? Oh,
see.
sure. The colonists are happy to trade when they need food or shelter, or a bit of extra
I should have
padding for
announced
their
the
armies.
freaking stream like 2 days
But when the
ago.
walls of the city constrict,
I've told you
when there's crops that need
multiple
soil,
times to do
when
that.
Yeah.
there's no more enemy to fight,
And they also have a bigger following, so more people are going to come. They also have their regulars who come for everything, so.
not yet. But they
Yeah.
will.
Even Meg is
Just
not
the
here,
way
guys.
of the world. In time, they'll turn.
Meg is always here. Maybe she's sleeping.
I could have
Ada?
stopped it. I could have saved you all.
You speak of
Ada?
salvation, but you were killing them.
Aye, because they would not listen. And so,
Let me see.
it seems, neither will you.
Alright.
Wait, yes, I'm sorry, I'm here. It's just my phone was locked.
Ayan was ne yahte hagum sare.
Oh, yeah.
Ya you miss kana se sagum haji.
Yeah. No worries.
Oh, Meg is here actually.
Meg is here?
Yeah, she public chat.
Where is she? Ah.
Hello.
Oh, dude, Meg.
2 a.m. and a half for her, I think.
Hi, guys. Hi. Meg, I was just talking about you. I'm like, where's Meg? She's usually here. By the way, hi Nordson. Hope you are enjoying the AC Valhalla giveaway that happened last week. So let me see. Are we jumping into? Are we jumping into the Battle of Bunker Hill?
Yes, we can do that. If you want to start
Alright.
talking about Israel Putnam, I will load into that memory.
Yeah, I mean we can take our time. Let's. Do you want to do another historical? No. Do you want to do another trivia question, Ada?
Yeah, sure, let's go ahead.
Now that we do have the chat over here.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Thanks for being here, guys. I appreciate it.
I think it's the historian turn.
Yeah, Joseph.
Let's go with an Odyssey.
Yeah. Let's get Odyssey. I'm readying up the poll questions. By the way, guys, we have poll questions now. Alright, go ahead.
I have a specific one here, but for fans of Odyssey it should be easier now. It's during Pericles' symposium, who called Cassandra the pretty monkey?
Pretty monkey?
Yeah.
So it's during what?
Pericles' symposium.
Mm.
Who called Cassandra the pretty monkey?
Obviously, it's no one who left there alive.
Who called Cassandra a tricky monkey?
No, the pretty monkey. It's on the chat of
the pretty. Oh, there we go. Sorry. Pretty monkey. And our options are.
Did you see that?
Okay.
They ain't better numbers, you say. Better weapons, better training. But I do not fear.
Do you mean Alcibiades? Alcibiades? Is that the last one supposed to be?
Alright, guys. Let's choose the.
Let me read this. Euripides, Aristophanes, Sophocles, or Alcibiades. That's what it is.
And most importantly, we have passion. We believe.
Let's choose the response, guys.
So maintain vigilance.
I'm going with Alcibiades, guys.
Ensure a proper line of sight, and above all else, men, do not fire until you see the whites of their eyes.
Oh damn!
What?
It seems like something Alcibiades would say, though, right?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. You know nothing about the man. He was the. Like if you know anything about Greek history and literature, if I was to say that he was like any god or goddess, anyone in the mythology, it probably would have been Narcissus.
Narcissus?
He's left Boston, as I said he would, and set up camp on Molten Hill.
Alright.
There's no good way to
Let's get into Israel Putnam because the mission's already half
not with
over.
that maelstrom brewing down below.
Okay, alright.
I suppose you could circle
well,
around
while
a
we
bit.
are choosing that, I'm gonna go over Israel Putnam. So, Israel Putnam, Putnam, was born on January 7, 1718, to Puritan parents in Salem, Massachusetts. In 1740, Putnam moved to Pomfret, Connecticut, for the promise of cheap land. He became a successful farmer by the time of the outbreak of the French and Indian War in 1755. Putnam was summoned into the Connecticut militia and was quickly named captain of the company of provincial forces. With his natural leadership abilities and charisma, he excelled in his role as an officer and recruited scores of men into the provincial regiment. Major Putnam was among those exchanged for French prisoners taken after the British victory at Fort Frontenac in 1758. Putnam's military record during the 7 Years' War cast him in favorable light among the people, and he was elected to the Connecticut General Assembly. During the Stamp Act crisis of 1765 to 66, Putnam became a prominent member of the Connecticut Sons of Liberty, as relations between crown and his colonies began to deteriorate over the next decade. He continued to work on his farm until the Battle of Lexington and Concord in 1775. Upon learning of the outbreak of hostilities in Massachusetts, Putnam abandoned his plow in the field to raise the local militia. He then rode for Boston without bothering to change his clothes and made the 100-mile journey in just 8 hours. General Putnam and regiments would conduct numerous impoverished sorties against the British leading up to the Battle of Bunker Hill, which you are seeing in front of your eyes right now. Such operations range. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I'm so confused right now because I'm not getting hit by anything, but I'm dying.
You're dying. Oh, for this machine, just like literally hide until they start like shooting. Oh my god. Anyway, alright, so we left off with General Putnam and his regiment conducting numerous impoverished missions against the British leading up to the Battle of Bunker Hill. Such operations ranged from merely taunting the British from Charlestown to burning a British warship. Throughout the morning of June 1775, General William Howe began massing roughly 2,300 British troops near Charlestown to attack the freshly dug American redoubt atop Breed's Hill. By the way, William Howe will return later on because William Howe was the commander-in-chief of the British forces during this time. General Putnam had been present when the Americans first advanced to the Charlestown Peninsula, and after Breed's Hill had been fortified, he busied himself rounding up stragglers to expand already existing fortifications at Bunker Hill. General Howe ordered the attack at 3:30 p.m. and General Putnam left Bunker Hill. Congratulations, you passed the mission. By the way.
I know.
Alright. Where were we? Okay, so General Howe ordered the attack at 3:30 p.m. and General Putnam left Bunker Hill to join General Prescott at the redoubt on Breed's Hill. The entire afternoon, Old Put could be seen riding through the American lines, both encouraging men along the front lines and attempting to goad stragglers back to Breed's Hill. When the Redcoats finally overran Prescott's redoubt, General Putnam rallied his Connecticut regiment on Winter Hill to make a stand against another potential British advance. The Battle of Bunker Hill was the high watermark of Putnam's wartime service. His actions in Charlestown won him a reputation for courage under fire. When General George Washington arrived to take command of the newly established Continental Army, General Putnam was placed in overall command of the Reserve Division for the remainder of the Siege of Boston. In 1779, Israel Putnam suffered a stroke, unfortunately, which compelled him to resign his commission in the Continental Army. He would die just 11 years later. He died on May 29, 1790 in Connecticut, living to see the American victory during the War of Independence. So, that is all I have on Israel Putnam, who was researched by Joseph, historian's perspective.
Yeah, but look at me, I'm such a good fighter.
Yeah.
Oh, that's mean. Now I gotta shoot you a couple times. Chow. I think I got him.
What's up?
I think I got him.
Dude. Is the tomahawk glitching?
I don't think so. I just shot him a dozen times.
To protect Adams and Hancock and those they serve.
Die, John.
You meant to kill them.
Kill them? Are you mad? I wanted only to parley. There was so much to discuss. To explain. You put an end to that now.
If you speak true, then I will carry your last words to them.
They must lay down their arms. They must stop this war.
Why them
How
and not
did
the
we
Red
do on the
Coats?
polls, you
Do you
guys?
not think we asked the same question of the British? These things take time. And it would have succeeded had you let me play my part.
Part of the puppeteer.
I mean, who was the right answer?
No, the strings should be severed. All should be free.
Aristophanes, really?
Forever.
Nobody answered Aristophanes. Well,
you wield your blade like a man,
let's end.
but your mouth like a child.
Let's end the poll.
More will die now.
Yeah. Alright. So, it hurts to see that you are doing this mission. We're doing it for like historical things. We're not doing the optional objectives.
Do you still hear me?
Yeah. I hear you. Do you hear us?
Yeah.
Alright, cool. Let me see here. Alright.
That was rough.
How dare you sneak up on me like
So,
that?
Israel
Why don't you
Putnam
stay out there and just help this camp retreat?
It's done.
Don't ever do that again, you hear me? God damn it!
Let's go over
General Putnam.
New York. Yeah.
The same cannot be said for Pitcairn.
But the memory is still playing out.
Well
so
done, I suppose.
Do you want to do another trivia question and then we'll just leave it up to the polls and start
We
with
have
New York?
lost too many in exchange for too little. If the Tories want this hill so badly, let them have
Liberation.
it.
Yeah, let's do it.
Boston is the true prize.
We have a bigger problem.
What do you mean? This can't be right. It says they plan to murder Washington.
Genetic memories of Adeline were used in a video game published by Astorgo Entertainment. At one point, Adeline was made a slave in a camp at Chichen Itza. Adeline is the ancestor of Subject 1. Or she has two personas aside from her true self.
Which one is not true?
Yeah, which one is not true?
So, okay, so the first option would be what?
A would be the genetic memories of Adeline were used in a video game published by Astorgo Entertainment.
Memory. Okay.
If you have these written down, just PM them to him. It's probably faster.
But he has them actually. They're on the full document.
Oh yeah. Let me see. Sorry.
It's question 52.
Question 52. AC quiz. 52, right? Okay, 52. I can just like... Let me see... Okay. So, Aveline was made a slave in a camp, and Aveline.
So what is your stake in all this?
Same as yours. Peace, stability, a land in which all might live side by side.
Who was
Free
Subject One, by the way?
Why not join the Brotherhood then?
My father was an assassin. Quite good at his job too, as I understand it.
Well, yeah, but like, do we have who use the
It's hard to live in
animus
two worlds at
first?
the same time. So, I chose to live in one.
I understand.
I still contribute as I can. That's why we're here now.
Interesting. Okay. Well, thank you for telling me about that. All right. Well, let's move on to New York until the poll questions are like answered. Are we
what
in
can
New
you
York?
tell me of Thomas Hickey?
Yeah. He has been running a counterfeiting ring in the city.
So,
locate the source of this operation, and we can have
New
him
York.
arrested.
This is another one of.
Do you know where he is?
Exactly.
Master Hecate's ceremonial researches. So thank you for this research, Master Hecate, or Sark. So yeah, let's start. So originally, New York was named New Amsterdam during Dutch settlement of the area following Henry Hudson's expedition of 1609. On August 22, 1776, New Yorkers heard the cannon blast of the Battle of Long Island. Five days later, an expeditionary force of over 32,000 British regulars, 10 ships of line, 20 frigates, and 170 transports defeated Washington's troops at Hips Bay and invaded Manhattan Island. Thus began 7 years of British occupation in the city of New York. New York City during the American Revolution was characterized by a complex web of loyalties, familial, political, and mercantile ties interwoven in a tightly packed space. Much as today, the shores of the Hudson and East Rivers hardly limited connections between people and commerce throughout the war. However, an already dense area had to cope with the addition of 2 armies and imposition of wartime regulations, creating a unique environment in which political, class, and economic concerns constantly tugged at the population. With every Continental Army victory in surrounding areas, particularly at Saratoga in October 1777, the city dealt with a massive influx of Loyalist refugees moving behind British lines out of concern for their own safety. William Franklin, the former British Royal Governor of New Jersey, wrote to John Allen, also acknowledging that he removed to New York in the year 1777 from New Jersey, where he suffered greatly by the rebels for his loyalty. The additional population density only added volatility to the city's short fuse. From the beginning of the occupation in late August 1776, the British imposed martial law on the city. Though General William Howe established an American staff police force, the British Army effectively managed all law enforcement activities. And while this police force was charged with suppressing unsavory activity by the army, the British certainly caused their fair share of damage to the city itself. Contemporary accounts noted soldiers' frequent patronage of the city's red light district, various taverns and saloons, and systematic looting of American patriots' property. British occupation was also characterized by permeable boundaries that allowed a thriving black market trading operation, with family members, often women in particular, evading checkpoints and traveling frequently from New Jersey to the city. Authorities had significant difficulty containing this illicit trade. With two armies to feed the immediate vicinity, this was a serious problem, serious enough to merit the attention of George Washington. In February 1779, he lamented, I merit the attention of George Washington. He lamented, I cannot, consistent with my feelings and my duty, suffer those only to reap the benefit of a trade, who from their peculiar characters can gain admittance within the enemy's lines. Washington corresponded frequently with Governor William Livingston of New Jersey on the illicit trade. In November 1777, Livingston wrote to Washington, "This evil, instead of being checked, has grown to so enormous a height that the enemy, as I am informed, is plentifully supplied with fresh provisions, and such a quantity of British manufactures brought back in exchange as to enable the persons concerned to set up shops to retail them." New Jersey passed a law in 1778 entitled "An Act to Prevent the Subjects." Why are we going over New Jersey? Entitled "An Act to Prevent the Subjects of this state from going into or coming out of the enemy's lines without permission or passports, and for other purposes therein mentioned." It was amended throughout the war. Likewise, on the British side, General Howe strictly enforced Parliament's Prohibitory Act, a measure passed in 1775 prohibiting commerce with the American colonies. In November 1776, Howe made a proclamation permitting goods to leave town, provided that a merit were procured from the Superintendent of Exports and Imports. Okay, so African Americans, too, took advantage of the porous boundaries to better their circumstances. Enslaved people belonging to residents of New York City took advantage of the confusion to obtain their freedom, often slipping across to New Jersey and elsewhere via the same illicit trade routes. As a result of Lord Dunmore's proclamation and similar offers granting freedom to all able-bodied enslaved people who left Patriot masters to join the British side, they had great incentive to risk a crossing. Officials took note and regulated accordingly. The New York Governor George Clinton wrote to Washington in 1778 that a loyalist referred to as Mr. Smith attempted to travel with enslaved people. Before Mr. Smith left the country, he applied to me. Well, this is quote. Before Mr. Smith left the country, he applied to me concerning his male servants, which the commissioners did not conceive themselves authorized to permit him to take with him, as they might be employed to fight against their country.
Suppose I'd best be
The
rectifying that then.
slaves he might have sold if he had fleets. So enslaved people on both sides also used the presence of the British Army as leverage in negotiating for better conditions and treatment with their masters.
There's another one! Grab him!
Historians speculate that the wartime situation likely contributed to New York becoming one of the last northern states to pass emancipation laws. On November 22, 1783, American troops led by General Washington and Governor Clinton entered New York City and ended the British occupation. Much was left to be determined, including the fate of New York's loyalists and the status of enslaved people who enlisted with the British, but undoubtedly the occupation left an indelible mark on the New York area. On April 30, 1789, at Federal Hall on Wall Street, George Washington was inaugurated as the first president of the United States in New York, as New York served as the capital of the United States when it was first established. So yeah, that was a lot of information. So I apologize if that was broad.
You're a right fool meddling in affairs you know nothing about.
History,
Washington's the only thing
but yeah,
keeping
New
the
York
Continental
has
Army
had a
together.
lot of
You kill
history in
him,
it.
you end all hope for freedom.
Clearly.
Wrong, boyo. With him gone, they'll have no choice but to promote Lee, and then...
You are
Yeah,
both
and,
under arrest!
We were just having a scrap, officer. Ain't nothing wrong
it served
with
as great
two
because
men settling their differences
the
the
mission
old-fashioned
literally
way.
just
Don't we come
finished.
to a
So,
quiet?
What are the charges?
so that's great.
Counterfeiting!
I had nothing to do with that.
Of course
We'll
not.
move immediately
Listen, there are more important things at stake here.
to
This man
Thomas
is planning...
Hickey's last memory, which is public execution.
I'm going to have to leave you guys sometime pretty much. So
Okay.
I'm going to wait now until, well, for me it's 8, but for you it's going to be 11, I guess.
Oh yeah. Thank you for being here. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, sure. Just keep using the document and don't forget to mark and grab the questions, okay?
Got it. All right. Thank you. Bye. Have a good day.
Me too.
Bye. Joseph, I'm gonna take like a 1 minute, well, the 30-second break. I just gotta go to the restroom and come back.
All right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.